What's up, everybody? Welcome to Discourse and Chill. I'm Ian.
And I'm your girl, Reese.
Today, we are going to give y'all part 2 of the Modern Love recap. We're going to review the last 4 episodes of the season. Reese, let the chillers know.
All right, so if you intend to watch Modern Love, this is the time to log off. Go finish the series, episodes 5 through 8, and then come back because I'm still talking, okay? Spoiler alerts.
You heard it
I just gotta
here
let the people
first.
know. Right. Just gotta let the people know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Definitely. So make sure you check out the episodes before you watch this episode because we tell them all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to jump right in. So season 1, episode 5. It's called At the Hospital, an interlude of clarity. And Reese, what'd you think of this episode?
So honestly, this episode I think was it was kind of cute-ish, if you would. The couple goes on, I don't care if it was their first or their second date. But they go on a date and they end up back at his place, and like, they're trying to be all like cutesy and whatnot. She goes to get more comfortable. He's laying on the couch and then he falls off the couch trying to be playful and funny. And as he falls off the couch, he basically like stabs himself with, was it a margarita glass? Like the glass broke,
yeah.
and it like literally it stuck him in the arm. So he's like literally like done cut an artery almost. Like he is injured. So basically the first day, maybe it was the first date. I can't remember. Either way, the day ends with them in the hospital. So I think time out. Listen, chillers, I'm trying to work on all these I heard it the other day when I was watching back one of our episodes. So I'm trying to do better with the I'm really having like brain fart here because it was city and I'm trying to do better. So forgive me for the I am going to try the rest of this episode to keep them to a minimum starting now. Okay, cool. So the couple ended up in the hospital on their date, and she stayed with him while he had to go through some, I can't remember if he had surgery or
it was like a minor procedure,
like medical attention. Okay, yeah. And they kept him overnight just to like observation or something of that effect. But she stayed with him. Yeah, but I think it was cute. I like how she stayed by his side. I like how they discussed past issues or like relationships type thing while they were in the there it is, in the hospital cafeteria. But I just think that it was a really cute way to stick by somebody that you really didn't even know while they went through like an issue in the hospital. So yeah, what was your take on the episode?
I thought it was good. It was definitely like, what do they call it? A meet cute. How they met and everything, and then they had a date. Yeah. Then they ended up back at his place, and then he stabs himself in the arm. They go to the hospital, and she's like, talking to him about how she was in certain instances, about like how she stares at guys for them to stare at her and get attention back, and how just how different guys have reacted to her. And I think too, he wasn't really the type of guy that she normally particularly dates, it seemed, throughout the episode.
Right.
And it just seemed very much like they were both navigating the space, because I think he felt that she potentially was too good for him. And it seemed like she understood that he's not the type of guy that she normally dates. Right. So yeah, it was a good episode. I think there were some good parts in it. There was some vulnerability in that, like some understanding of past ways of existing in a relationship, which I think is always interesting to be able to like have those conversations with somebody new. Right. But yeah, overall, it was a decent episode. Like, it wasn't too crazy. It wasn't too like far out there regarding, to me, like how everything happened. It was definitely entertaining for sure.
Yeah, they also met on a fly. So we find out on the very last episode like how they met. It had rained in the city on this particular day, and as it was raining, she ran under like the awning of a restaurant as he was getting ready to leave because he got stood up. So she was trying to
Mm-hmm.
like make small talk with him, and he was like really just short basically. She's like, are you
Yeah.
always this way? And he was like, I just got stood up. I thought that it was going to be something. The person didn't even meet me to reject me.
Mm-hmm.
There's another but the person didn't meet me to reject me, and here I am. So she was like, my mom always said that you have to change the fate. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody cuts you off, instead of getting angry, you just allow somebody else to get over on in the freeway. Or if somebody steals from you, then you donate to like the prayer box at church or something.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, well, we can always change the universe, and maybe the universe gives you opportunity for another date.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was like, are you serious? And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, right now. So she like invited him into the restaurant, and that's how their date started. Like they met
Mm-hmm.
on the fly. He got stood up. She was trying to get out of the rain, and then that's how they came together.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then
Yeah.
it kind of ends on. Does it end like on them on the bench after he's like out of the gets
Mm-hmm.
released from the hospital, them talking, eating like a croissant or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
she's just like relaxed, taking a nap on him. Mind you, she still has the same dress on that she had on the night before, and it's like all bloody from like using it as a tourniquet. I was like, she's just really out here just walking around with this bloody dress on,
Right, with this
like
man
it,
blood. Right, with this
like
man blood.
a white dress with a whole bunch of blood on it, like just like it's nothing, which is also super cool because I feel like a lot of people would be very uncomfortable in that space, but she was just like, shit happens, some shit happened, and
Yeah.
here I am. So uh,
Yeah.
it just seemed like their connection grew and meshed really well throughout the episode. Like they really started becoming invested in each other in that episode because there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability shared, a lot of stories told, and just when you go through a traumatic experience like that, like you're either gonna get closer
Right.
or further apart.
Right. That man shed his blood on her. So she was like, look, we blood brothers and sisters now. We in this thing. A mess.
No. All right, let's run over to the next episode. So that's episode 6. This one is called "So He Looked Like Dad." It was just dinner, right? Now, this episode right here had me in all kinds of
Weird
weird places.
AF. Yes, weird AF. Like, girl.
What the entire hell, Reese? What the hell? So
Listen.
a little overview.
Go ahead.
This
Go ahead. Yeah.
this young lady at the office environment is visually, or it seems to be like she's physically attracted to this man, this older man at her office.
Mm-hmm.
She finds him like interesting. He's really intelligent. She like stops and drops things in front of his office because she wants to get noticed by him. And so
Mm-hmm.
finally, she gets noticed. He like take what did he cook her dinner, invites her over to
Yep.
her place, his place.
At his place.
He
Uh-huh.
has this amazing place, interesting art on the wall, like cooks for her, and
Mm-hmm.
they have dinner, and then they go into his room and cuddle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see this thing blossoming throughout the episode. But you also have her perspective where she's like, he's like my dad. But
Mm-hmm.
she's not telling him this. She's telling the friend this,
Right.
but she's still hanging out with him in a very romantic way, uh,
Right.
without like really divulging like how she's feeling. Um,
Yeah.
and all these things happen. Like they go on. Obviously, they continue to hang out. He buys her a coat. He finally tries to make a move after like multiple times hanging out, and she
Mm-hmm.
flips on him. She's like, "What are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, why are you ruining this? Like, you're like my dad." And he's like confused because he's thought he's
Yeah.
been like just taking it slow with this young lady who
Mm-hmm.
may have been a little confused or may just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he thought because hell I didn't know what to think after I was watching it. I was like, what is happening? What's going on here? So yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was crazy. And then he like quits his job and leaves, and
Mm-hmm.
the end of the episode, he like lets her know, and he's like walking away, and then she like runs after him and says wait, and you're like, what the hell what happened just now, you know?
Yeah.
What did you think, Reese? What did you think?
So I think the little girl was crazy and delusional and living in La La Land. That's what I think. She went to her roommate's 21st birthday party where the roommate's dad
Hmm.
was speaking to the roommate and was like, I'm so proud of you. You've done great
Oh
things.
yeah.
Like, you're very
Hmm.
accomplished. And like, when she saw that, she just was like, oh, I never had anybody say that to me. I never, had that feeling, that experience of my dad saying that he's proud of me. I'm beautiful. I'm
Hmm.
accomplished. So she get up with the old man at the office, and like, she really is almost preying on this man. Like, she wants the father figure, and she's hanging out with him again. Like, they cuddle in the bed. He even said, like, we cuddle. What was that? You laid in my bed. Like, what was that? And she's like
Hmm.
my dad. Tell me a story. She's like, tell me a story
Yeah.
how I was as a kid. And he was like,
Oh
what?
yeah, that I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
you
Tell
need
me, tell
therapy,
me a
lady. Like,
story.
don't do that to no man. Like,
Right. Right. Tell me a story. She even stole his socks. The socks are on his feet. He took his socks off. She took them home from his house. Like,
yeah,
what is really going on? Like, she slept with his socks on her hands and stuff. It was just really, really weird.
yeah.
They even met, like, they were out at the zoo and they bumped into his daughter and his grandson. And he was like, I know that was probably really weird for you, the whole grandpa thing. She's like, no, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. Like,
Hmm.
as if she was excited to like be introduced his family to know, it's like to meet the grandkid. And his daughter was even like, oh, kind of looking at her like, so you with this young girl? Because it
Yeah.
seemed like he was with the young girl. Yeah. And then he bought her a coat, and yeah, she flipped. What is wrong with you? That's disgusting. You're like my dad. Da, 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 da. He was like, what? Like, I bought you a coat. Like, we've been hanging out, X, Y, and Z. And she's like, you thought you were going to get some because you bought me a coat? It was hella, hella weird. She definitely
Yeah.
sent like super mixed signals to this man. And watching the episode, you think that they are forming an actual relationship, whereas she was just looking for a father figure, somebody to
Hmm.
make her feel like a little girl again, make her feel protected
Yeah.
like a little girl again, because that's stuff that she missed. What
Yeah.
she needed to do was go sit on somebody's couch instead of
Hmm.
trying to turn the old guy into her dad. So yeah,
Yeah, I think too. All she had to do was say that to him, right? Like, I think he would have been fine
initially,
with it.
yes.
Yeah, I think he
Hmm.
legitimately would have been okay with it if she just said,
Yeah,
"Hey, like this is what I'm missing. This is what I need." I mean, she eventually
yeah.
does. Um,
And when
and
it's
but
too
she was telling her friend this. Yeah, she like after it's too
yeah,
late,
yeah,
like because she thought she was gonna get fired, and then he comes down and he like
right.
says, "I'm really proud of you. You're such a beautiful woman." He gives her the kind of
Mhm.
validation that she was seeking the entire episode. But it was just like you're
Yeah,
telling your friends all this, like he's like your dad, and even her friend was like, "You
yeah,
just need to get you some. You just need to like let him
right,
do the thing." And chillers, we're not
right.
saying that any woman needs to like let a man do anything, but when you watch this
No, no, no.
episode, you're like, oh, these two are like in a thing, and he
Right,
thinks it's a
right,
thing. She acted like it's a thing, but then it's not a thing, and so we were just like,
right.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
Yeah, like he even came over and like fixed things around her house and was like, plunging the
Yeah,
toilet and stuff. And yeah, the
listen.
roommate was like, "Girl, you need to go ahead and get with him." And she was like, like it was
Mm-hmm.
never like, "No, he's just my dad." I see him as a
Yeah.
dad. No, it was never any of that. Like even the
Mm-hmm.
friend was like, "Girl, listen, sugar daddy me." Sugar daddy me, so it's like, what's really going on? What's
Yeah.
really going on? It was
Yeah.
hella weird. It was
He
hella,
was
hella weird.
he was straight boyfriend material in that space. Like he was like fixing
Right.
stuff, like
Right.
giving her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just like,
Yep.
yes, that's a boyfriend. That's what it looked like. Like
Right.
most
Right.
girls would be
And
happy to
that's
have a boyfriend like him, you know?
right. Listen, come on, Mr. Charlie, because
Mm.
retire me, sir. Look, retire me. I really need to stop saying that, I want a sugar daddy, because people probably like, this girl ain't trying to do nothing but be kept. Listen, I can do for me, however, comma, get somebody else to do it. Like,
Like I can do for me, and I would prefer if I didn't do for
Right.
me. You could do for me too. You know,
Like
like
I can do for me and you can do for me.
mhm.
Exactly. Like we
We
can
can
do
do
for
for
me.
me.
Like I mean, but I'm
Oh
pretty sure
man,
somebody's like this gold digging heifer. That
this
ain't what it
gold
is.
digging
These
effort.
right. These these are jokes, folks. These are jokes. Calm down. Look, calm down. People in the cheap seats, chill out.
Cheap seats. Oh man. All right. So then after that episode, we have uh hers was a world of one, which was another very interesting episode to me. Um
Yeah.
so in this episode, you have a gay couple who was looking to adopt and just
Mhm.
not having good luck because in some instances it was because they were gay. And
Right.
then they go to do the. It's not even a surrogate. Like this woman is pregnant, and she just wants to put
Yeah,
her.
she's already pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to
Mm-hmm.
put her baby up for adoption. She
Mm-hmm.
is unhoused and someone who likes to stay on the move and travel and such. So she was looking to find a family to allow her baby to be adopted. She
Yeah.
comes to them, she meets them, she likes them, she moves in, and they have all these experiences together. There's all these learnings
Mm-hmm.
about patience and tolerance
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
acceptance. There's like all these
Mm-hmm.
different themes that happen. So I think this is like one of my favorite episodes because of that. You know, like you learn a little more
Yeah.
about the characters as they're pushed and stretched out of their comfort zone. And she takes their
Yeah.
asses out. Look, she took me out of my comfort
Listen.
zone. She's bringing folks to their house. I was like,
Right.
listen.
Strangers. Yeah.
They came outside. They're like, "You hear that man talking? Is there a man in our house?" They walk out. They're like,
Right.
"Who?
What?
Who is this?"
A mess. A whole mess. It's so crazy because that man was also, as Ian said,
Unhoused.
unhoused.
Yep.
Not unhoused. I said
Yeah.
unhoused.
Yep.
But yeah, so she's like, if I have a place to stay, you have a place to stay. Like this ain't your place though. Like what are you talking about? Yeah, you set
Yeah.
up camp in the living room.
In the
Like what?
living room. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was in these folks' house. Like I know she lived there, but it was a different level. Like she
a
bringing
mess.
folks home,
Mm-hmm.
drinking their good
A mess.
liquor, like just and not saying anything
Mess.
about it. I think that's the biggest part.
Right.
Like you
Nope.
say, hey, I'm gonna have company later. You know, that's one thing. But
Nope.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I wake up and I hear a man's voice in my house and ain't no men supposed to be here, I'm be like, I'm coming out with I'm about to throw some hands, you know?
A
So
whole mess. Cutting up. A whole mess.
yeah,
But
but
yeah, it was really interesting in the episode because she basically lived her life as a nomad. Like she just like traveled and
mm,
went around. Like she was all about journeys and experiences, and she knew that she couldn't do that with the kid and wanted like the kid
mm-hmm,
to have some stability. So she definitely, I
mm-hmm,
would say that she definitely vetted them to ensure like that they were going to last because she didn't want to put
mm-hmm,
her child in a situation where they break up, the child is unstable. She was saying
mm-hmm,
to one of her unhoused friends who was like, "You don't have to do this. We can take care of the baby together." And she was saying, "I just need to make sure that they're stable because 99% of the people on the street come from broken homes, and
yeah,
I need to make sure that my kid has, some stability. Like there were missing
mm-hmm,
parents, and like things are going on. So her biggest concern was that the couple was going to stay together.
yeah.
So
Remember how she looked at him when he said we could do it together? She looked at him like,
right.
no the hell, I ain't doing
She
nothing
looked at
with
the back
you.
of his window bago, right? She was like,
She looked
"What?"
around. She's like, "What you talking about?" she, I
What?
might, I might, I might not ever see you again. Let alone I'm not staying in this thing.
Right.
Yeah,
What? Yeah, that was pretty funny too.
yeah. She,
I do I do think one of the guys in the couple, the white guy in the couple, I think he had reservations throughout most of it.
yeah,
I
for
felt
sure.
like after the baby was born, I think he kind of came around. He even said to her, he was like, "If you decide to keep this baby, I understand. Like I get it
Mm-hmm.
after seeing like the birth of the baby and going through and holding the baby and everything." And he was like, I understand. Like if you decide that you want to keep her, I get it. But in the end they ended up with the baby.
Yeah,
I feel like, yeah, I can't remember, did she end up staying like with them still, or
she would
she
come
moved
back and
on too?
visit. Yeah, she moved on, but she
Right.
would still
Okay.
come back and like see the kid as he
Right. Okay.
grew up
That's what it
because she would
was.
like tell stories about her mom and everything because it's a daughter.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, so the journey, and plus the journey of acceptance and tolerance for the white guy in the couple. I forget his name, but
Yeah.
he was the one that was really like,
Mhm.
listen,
Mhm.
he was this close to being what's the word of, like, choosing a poor choice of words.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like I want to say like he was very intolerant of her lifestyle
Right.
and intolerant of her
Yes.
choices as a
Right.
human, thinking they were coming from a place of lack and they were coming from a place of like legitimate, like this is what she chose for herself, you know? And
Right.
there was a lot of judgment on his part that he had to address, confront, and
Mhm.
like his partner also looked at him sideways when he came out, you know, started talking sideways. So it was a
Right.
nice journey of growth from him going from that point to them having the child, and then him telling the daughter about, you know, the adventures of the mom rather than
Mhm.
labeling her as this degenerate like nomad. You
Right.
know, he's like, she's on an
Right.
adventure. You know, she just loves to adventure. So that was really, it was good to see like that kind of trajectory in the character. I appreciate that kind of growth in stories.
Right. And I also
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the writers in this episode because they show how a marginalized group of people, or like a judged group of people, can also be judgmental, and like those
Mm-hmm.
who are judged are still judgmental. So he had to also work through things like people out here judging you for your lifestyle and your choices, and here you are judging somebody else for their lifestyle and their choices. So I really appreciate the writers like writing that in and
Absolutely.
showing, because it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely appreciate the writers writing that in, and then also writing the evolution of him growing through his
Mm-hmm.
judgment, and becoming, like you said, the acceptance of it. So they
Yeah.
did a really good job with this episode. Kudos to the
Yeah.
writers of this particular one. Yeah,
Yeah,
they did
I
good.
think this episode was really good, and like even
Hmm.
thinking about it the way you said, like having, I didn't even think about it like that, like having someone
Yeah.
who is marginalized, and then they're also
Hmm.
then judging another marginalized group of people, you know, like
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so true. So I
That
think
ain't the
that's,
pot calling the kettle, right?
listen,
A
that makes
mess,
that
like,
episode that much
bruh.
better for me, you know, that makes that episode that much
Yeah.
better for me. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
All right. And then this is like the final episode of the season is probably one of the best, I think.
Yeah, it's
Cuz two
sweet. It's
things
one of the
happens.
sweetest. Yeah.
Yeah, two things happen. One, you get
Mhm.
one of the best stories, right? And then two,
Mhm.
you get context for a lot of the other episodes in the season. So
Mhm.
this is where they show you, for the ones we were talking about earlier at the hospital, this is where they show you that they met. And then they show you an episode on part one that we talked about regarding the guy who created the dating app. They show him running
Mhm.
back into the publisher of or the editor of the magazine, and letting
Mhm.
her know, like giving him updates. And so I thought this episode was really good. But the initial story is this older woman who had, you know, had an entire life. She was in her
Mhm.
I think what is 70s ish, 60, late 60s,
Maybe.
early
Yeah, they didn't really
70s,
say. I don't think they
maybe.
said the age. They were
Yeah,
they were older.
they were older. They were older.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Elderly, if you
but then,
would.
yeah, no, we're not gonna go elderly. They weren't elderly because she was out there running marathons and stuff. I feel like when you're elderly, you stop doing that stuff. You
Elderly
know.
people, elderly people can run marathons. Elderly
I'm not
people can
saying
run
they
marathons.
can't. I'm not saying they
They were
can't. I'm just
elderly.
saying.
They were elderly. She had a head full of gray hair. Both of them. They were elderly. They
They were
even said
older
he even
folks.
called their running. He even called their running club the geriatric running club. So yeah, he did. The guy did. He called them the
He did. He
geriatrics.
did. He did.
They were
I believe
elderly
you.
folks.
I don't like to call folks elderly.
Okay, they were up in age.
But they were up in age. And they were in the
Not
running
with you.
club, and she sees him and was like, "Oh, that's him for me." Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
part I love about this episode because she sees him and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's mine right
Mm-hmm.
there."
Right.
And so they finish their race and then they wait for him to finish and it takes
Mm-hmm.
forever. Like he's the
Yes.
last person done. They got the golf cart
Mm-hmm.
following him to the end. And they meet, they talk. She invites him to the running club that she's in, and it just shows their evolution of like they start going to plays together, they run together, then they went on a overnight trip together, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, it was so smooth. He was like, I'm gonna get a room for this run that we're gonna do. She was like, oh, that'd be nice. She's like, with one bed. Would that be okay for you? And she's like,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. That's
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Yes. And then they get there and she's like, or he goes, no, she says, you're gonna make it so I don't want to travel. I'm not gonna want to travel anywhere without you. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were
She's like, so you do know from now on, we travel together. And he was like, that. Yeah, that's the plan.
that's the plan.
Absolutely. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciated how they were both like very much all in and very much
Yeah.
engaged and just
Mm-hmm.
enthralled with each other. Like they weren't holding back. And maybe
Yeah.
this is gonna happen when I get older, and dating and things. Like that kind of feeling is gonna happen because I've been waiting for that forever to just be in something without hesitation. They were like, we old
Yeah.
already, we
Yeah.
done all the nonsense. We just here for this. We just here for the connection and
Yeah.
see what it was. And they just had like a beautiful like second life together. And then
Yeah.
he got sick, um, and then he passes away.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives an amazing eulogy about him and about their love and
Mm-hmm.
about it being like, because they were previously married, had kids, divorced, probably for 20 something
Mm-hmm.
years, and then had this second chance at love. And man, it was awesome. I thought it was awesome. What did you think, Reese?
Yeah, I thought that it was really good too. So he didn't
Mm-hmm.
divorce. His wife died of cancer. His wife had died
Oh,
like
that's
6
right.
years
That's right.
prior. Yeah, his wife
Mm-hmm.
died of cancer. So what I like is like she pointed him out, in the marathon that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
Her friend was like, "Who that guy?" She's like, "Yeah, I noticed him from the start. I noticed him,
Mm-hmm.
from when the race started." And then they waited for him, and she was like, "Well, I hope he's okay." It had been hours.
Yeah,
I hope he's
hours.
okay. She's like, I hope nothing happened to him. I hope, he made it. And the
Mm-hmm.
friend was like, why? She's like, because I would hate for him to die before I could ask him out on a date. So yeah, she
Listen, I want
invited him
somebody
to
to
the
want me
running
like
club.
that. Look, want me like
Right. Yeah.
that.
Like, okay, you just saw me and that's it. Okay, well come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. A mess. So yeah, so like the episode starts with her son coming to the door, like ringing the doorbell, and
Mm-hmm.
she's laying in bed because he has already passed. So
He's
she's
already
like
passed, yeah.
she's like, back shadowing to
Backshadowing.
see
It's
backshadowing is not a word,
flashbacks.
right?
Flashbacks.
Flashbacking. I was like, that is not what it is. We foreshadow. We don't backshadow.
We foreshadow
Flashback.
and flashback.
Right. As I said, I was like, that ain't it. Thank you for saying what it was, because a couple of episodes ago you had me saying something that wasn't something to say, and you let me say the whole episode. But anyway, so she was doing flashbacks throughout the whole episode, showing what was like their first date at actual restaurant, when she found out about, it had been 6 years, because
Yeah.
she asked him, if you don't mind, can you tell me how long ago it was? And he said 6 years, and she said, surely there's enough room in your heart to love me too. So basically she was letting him know, like, listen, I'm committed. Yeah,
I am
she
here.
said, yes, there's enough love in your heart for me too. So there was a few things that I took from the eulogy that she gave, and she said, old love is different. Like older people, old love is different. It's more realistic, maybe. And then she said, even though old love is different, it's still the same in regards to, like, hanging out. We went to movies, we went to runs, we did all.
Mm-hmm.
So him kissing me as we walked through the house. She's like, every time they passed by, he would either kiss her or like touch her on her
Touch
shoulders or
her,
something.
yeah.
Like every
Mm-hmm.
time. Yeah, and she was like, at first it was really annoying. Like it would annoy me, but she's like, but then like that's what I needed. I never had it before. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I needed. Like he definitely expressed his love, physical touch. Listen, quality time. He was on his love languages. Okay.
Listen, he was.
Yeah.
He's like, if you don't know now, you know. Like,
Right. And then she said, young love, even for old people, can be bountiful. And I said,
mm-hmm.
come on now. So it's still doing like the playful stuff that you did, like,
Mm-hmm.
in yesteryears, to do it at an older age, that means a lot. Why are
Yeah.
you laughing at me? Oh,
Yesteryears.
yesteryears. Why are you laughing at me? So doing the things like the young love things at an
Mm-hmm.
older age is bountiful, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really beautiful. Like her eulogy was so eloquent, so
Mm-hmm.
special. She definitely let them know this man cared for me, he loved me, I loved
I
him.
loved
And she was
him.
like,
Yes.
yeah, and she was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. She was very honest about that. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow looks like for me. I have no
Yeah.
idea how I'm gonna keep going. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when I say she loved that man, she saw him and was like, he mine, and I'm gonna stick beside
That's.
him. Claimed, I
She
got dibs.
did.
I got dibs on this one.
She did. And it was awesome because,
Yeah.
like, after the funeral,
Hmm.
everybody's outside, kind of like,
Hmm.
fellowshipping,
Making
as
plans
they
to go
say,
eat.
making
Yeah. Hmm.
plans to meet somewhere else. And she's like, I'm just gonna go
Hmm.
for a walk by myself. And she starts to
Yeah.
walk a little bit, and then she just takes off running. She starts
Yeah.
like she's gonna run down the street. It's kind of like a Forrest Gump montage, right? Like I just started
Right.
running,
Yeah. Right.
and so it's like.
Jedi.
So she ran like down the block, and then she like cut down this alley and
Yeah.
ran down the alley, and then she stopped again, looked
Yeah.
around, and then ran down this street.
Kept
So
running. Yeah.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I just kept running.
Yeah. Kept
So,
running and kept running.
and then as she's
Yeah. It
running,
was beautiful.
she runs past all the other couples that we've learned about throughout the season.
Right.
And so they start like giving little tidbits of the new things, the
Hmm.
context of the things that you didn't learn in the episode, which I thought was really
Right.
good on the part of the writers
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
director to like give these little morsels of truth and connect
Hmm.
everything, because this is all happening in New York City, right? Like
Right.
all
They're
the
all in the
episodes
same
are happening in
city
New York City, and so
at the
you
same
just see
time.
how close people are in
Hmm.
proximity, like how close somebody who is in love or going through something. Like I like that message. Like the people who are around you are
Yeah.
going through the same things that you're going through. Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
somebody across the street or like at Walmart or at the coffee shop. Like they're all in your neighborhood are going through these things and having these experiences, and they're like you're closer to your fellow person than you think you are.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the connecting the dots part, because
Mm-hmm.
for one, the young girl who was like had daddy issues, in the end you see her, because it's raining on this day, they're connecting all the dots and everybody's out in the rain, so you see
Mm-hmm.
her running under a bridge with a young guy. So she finally got in a relationship with somebody of age,
Yeah.
like around her age. So I think her going through the issues she had with her dad, with this man, kind of helped her to like close that chapter a little bit, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
she was able to move on and like find love, at her age, and not, searching for it from somebody, looking for a father figure. Like he
Yeah.
was able to release that off of her so that she can move on. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it was awesome because because he had that whole talk with her, the thing that she had been wanting to hear from
Yeah, that she
the
needed to
male
hear.
father,
Yep.
and then that
Hmm.
allowed her to find
Yep.
love. And then you have Anne Hathaway like riding her bike down the street,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, she's out of the house, not in a manic state. So you're like, you're glad that she's good. You just have all these little touch
Right.
points of all the couples. You see the rain on the tennis court. With
Yeah.
the episode that we
They
didn't like
keep
of the
playing.
married couple, and he's like, "You want
Yeah.
to keep playing?
The
It's
worst
about to
one.
rain," and she's like, "Yeah, let's keep
Right.
playing."
Yeah. A mess. That episode still sucks. Like look, even with the little tidbit of the little morsel they gave at the end,
Yeah,
it didn't feed.
yeah.
It wasn't. It
I
didn't
feel like
feed
that
me.
relationship too. That was like they just seemed like friends, right? Like that seemed like the least romantic relationship in the entire
Yes.
season.
Yes.
You're just like,
Yeah.
are they platonic? Like, what is going on here?
Right.
Like, they just need to be
A
friends because
mess.
I feel like they'd be better friends.
Right.
But every relationship is different. Like every relationship is
Hmm.
different. It just wouldn't work for me.
Yes, it
I'm just
is.
gonna say that.
Right, because I was like, what is really going on with them? Like, why aren't they divorced by now? It was, yeah. And the kids
Yeah.
were, are gone probably by now. The kids are gone.
Hmm.
So what are y'all doing? What are y'all hanging
Yeah.
on
Playing
to? So
tennis.
right. So maybe
Listen,
that was the spark that they needed to rekindle whatever love they had for each other because I couldn't see it.
I hope they rekindle some intimacy or something else too, because they like their flame was out.
Yeah.
Like their flame was
Yeah.
doused in water and
Yeah. It was
mud and dirt and covered up.
right. It was
Yeah,
like the embers were even gone. Like there weren't even any embers.
yeah.
It was
Somebody came and
it was
scooped the embers out and threw those away because they just weren't sparking no more. You know, like
yeah, it was like, what is going
Mhm.
on? Yeah, they definitely seemed like they were wasting each other's time
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was as a whole, like we said before. I think B plus is definitely
Hmm.
it's short enough. Like it's 8 episodes. Like you could definitely binge
Yeah.
it in a weekend. Um,
Hmm.
it's a feel like it's feel good for the most part. I think most
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
regardless of the story, is still feel good. I think that's the part that I always hope for. So I'm not a happily ever after person, and sometimes I
Hmm.
want the story to feel more real because I want the story to feel not just not in the way you think. You know, I think
Right.
in a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
instances they tied this season up in a nice little bow and presented it to us. But sometimes I just want like an episode or two that don't go the way you think. You know, like it would
Yeah.
have been nice to have one or two episodes to just not end on a happy note, but somebody still be okay. I think the only one we got like that was the Anne Hathaway one, is because we didn't get like she wasn't in a relationship at the end of the episode. She was coming to
She
terms
was
with her.
though.
She was in a
She
relationship.
was. With herself, absolutely. She came to
Oh
terms
yeah,
with herself, and yeah, she was.
you
She
know what
was
I
in a
mean.
relationship
You know what
with
I mean. She
herself.
went in a romantic relationship with somebody else. That's what we talk about. All the other
She was in
episodes
a
they ended
relationship.
like yeah, she was, but we talking about romantic relationship with a person of their choosing, and she was the only single one in the 8 episodes that we watched. Everybody else had
She
somebody
chose
at
herself.
the end.
She chose herself.
She did choose herself, but she also chose to put her whole story on a dating website. So she was hoping for something else too.
Yes. A mess.
So I think,
But they have continued it. There's a season 2 out of
yep,
Modern Love. We will not be recapping season 2. So yeah, no.
we won't be recapping season two.
You wanna watch season 2 and recap season 2?
I'm gonna
You are
watch it and
intrigued,
look.
huh?
I'm gonna watch it and then we'll make a decision after that.
All right, because I haven't started watching it. You said season 1 because I asked and you said no season 1.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I think season 1 held me enough
Mhm.
to maybe see what season 2 is like. I'll watch like maybe the first episode, see if it hold me,
Yeah.
and then kind of go from there. So
Yeah.
I ain't gonna make no guarantees about a recap of Modern Love
Yeah.
season
We
2.
not out here
But
trying to guarantee that we're gonna recap Modern Love season two. But
right,
if you want to see more content like this from us, please let us know. If there's movies that you want us to watch, please leave them in the comments. Let us know so we can watch them and give recaps. We I don't know. I've enjoyed doing recaps with you. It's definitely been it's been interesting and funny, and I don't know, just
yeah,
crazy to talk about in a lot of ways, and especially shows like this that have some some depth and not just plot, but there's some depth in all this. And I feel like we also talk
Right.
about love a lot on this show and relationships.
We really
So
do.
we really do. We
we
really out here talking about
really do.
love, just in love with ourselves and no
Right.
partners and shit. We just out here just single as fuck.
Like we really do. Right. A whole mess. But that's because somebody out there missing out on their grader. You know, like, okay,
Listen,
if you want to miss out on
you
your
better let
grader,
them
then
know.
go ahead. Then go ahead. That's not on me. That's not on me. That's on you. But I will say, because you did say that you wish that some of the episodes ended like not how you expected them to end.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: the show is called Modern Love, not modern relationships. So of course they're going to end with love, because that's how maybe there should be a series, Modern Relationships, in order to to explore the different side of relationships outside of love. But if you call a show Modern Love, you want to be able to like see love in the in each episode, and I think each episode you did.
I think so. I think also, like, if you call it Modern Relationships, you're gonna have a lot of fighting, arguing, and ghosting and bumble swiping and all kinds of stuff like that. So maybe that won't really work for a TV series.
Yeah, they got enough of that on the reality TV. So
exactly.
We good.
Yeah.
Even though I do like my ratchet TV, I'm not gonna pretend like I do like a good ratchet. Every now and then I have a few hours. Let me sit here and watch this real quick. All right, let me get back to real life.
every now and then,
every now and then, every now
week,
and then,
every week, every other week.
No, it's not every week. Don't come for me. Listen, what we're not going to do, what we're not getting ready to do, sir, is make it seem like all I do is sit and watch.
No, I didn't say all you do was. I'm just saying, like, you watch it every Monday. That's every week, right? Like, that's not all you do.
I don't watch it every Monday, though.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying if you were to watch it every Monday, that doesn't mean that's all you do. That's all I'm saying.
Not you knowing that Ratchet TV come on Mondays. What you watching on Mondays?
I ain't watching nothing on Mondays.
Okay, Ratchet TV.
I just know you watch it on Mondays because I done called you and you're like, "What you doing?" I'm watching Ratchet TV. So I only know because you know.
A whole mess. You're doing the most right now. You really want people to see us argue right now because. Get it together.
Yes, ma'am.
A mess.
Oh man. But yeah, y'all should definitely check out Modern Love season 1. Solid season. We'll let you know if we're gonna do season 2. We'll put a post out, like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't know yet. But we shall see.
Right. If you all want us to recap some Ratchet TV so Ian can watch.
Yeah. Y'all don't do that to me.
These are just jokes. These are just jokes, folks. These are just jokes.
But I would do it for our listeners. If you want to hear us recap, I did see this show on, I don't know what channel it's on, but I saw the trailer. It's basically like older women, or cougars, I should say, and they're like on a dating show with their sons. And so it's like the mama, like it's like a group of mamas and then a group of sons, and they're dating like other people at, not, you're obviously not dating your mama, but there's like 12 other women that you could potentially date because like the sons like older women too. And I'm like, this is a lot.
That's not the kind of Ratchet TV that I like. So yeah, no, that's not my level of Ratchet TV. Because that just don't make no sense. So I'm there as a mama watching my son trying to date somebody else's mama.
Date other folks, yeah, and you out there trying to date somebody else's son.
Now wait a minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Team too much.
Listen,
too much.
A lot.
It just sounds ridiculous. Sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. Like, because I don't even know, like, what are you doing in that space? Like, your mama is out there, like, because they got, in like some tropical area, there's a pool and all this other stuff. So you see your mama with like Frank, who's like, Frank is 22 and ain't shit. and your mama just over there
Right.
being fed with grapes, and then you with Frank's mama, like you with
Right.
Frank's mama kikiing in her face. You know what I mean?
A
Like,
mess. A mess. Yeah, I sound like ratchet TV, not ridiculous TV, because yeah, that just sounds damn ridiculous. Like it sounds dumb as hell.
yeah, yeah,
We good.
yeah.
Hard
We
pass.
good.
Hard
Hard
pass.
pass. All right, all right. We ain't reviewing that one, Chiller. Sorry.
Not at all. Not at all.
uh,
Mm-mm.
Well, all right, y'all. We gonna bring this episode to a close. We really appreciate y'all taking some time and listening. As always, we love you. Please hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment, share. You can get seasons 1, 2, and 3 on Spotify or Apple Podcasts right now. So please go check those out. And we got a couple more episodes for this season to put out, so we're really excited. So be on the lookout for. What is next? I think after this episode, we're going to put out Peace versus Freedom, which is an amazing
Oh yeah.
conversation. So
Yes.
please check that out. And yeah, that's all I got. Reese, you want to send us out?
You already know. I just want everybody to make sure that you are gentle with yourselves. You are only responsible for today. All other days will take care of themselves as they come. Allow yourself to have some grace and some space to do whatever healing you need to do whatever reflection you need to do. But just know you are only responsible for today. All other days will take care of themselves as they come. Sending you lots and lots of love, extra hugs, and my sweater that feels like a hug. So sending you love and hugs and good energy. And yeah, we love you, chillers. Be gentle with yourselves. That's all I got.
All right, y'all. We out. Peace.